welcome to another episode of Nothing Personal, Just Buffalo. And, you know, can't say anything personal later. The Buffalo's just been winning. That's basically what's been
Yes.
going on. 7-2. Defeating the rivals. Clean season sweep now of the interdivision rival Miami Dolphins. Got my guy in the building with me, James Mallory. We like to come NFL pedigree. We got a lot of things to talk about tonight, James. We got Coleman's injury. We
Yes.
have trade deadline has passed and gone. The Bills didn't make any more trades, but we did make a few more additions, some familiar faces, and now, as we're going to call it, same places. Josh Allen, another efficient game. We'll have International D-Dot with us today to talk about the offense at some point in the show. Cowboy Ray Davis. All right. Like wearing that cowboy hat, wrangling in those big plays this season. Another big play on Sunday versus Miami Dolphins. Game-changing play. We'll talk a little bit about Jordan Poyer and the hit that was on Coleman combined with the injury. And, if we think it was fair, foul, clean, or dirty, whatever you want to call it. So we'll talk about that a little bit. And our guy, Tyler Bass, coming through up big, hit a 61-yard field goal.
That he did, JT. That he
Nailed it.
That he
Straight down the pipe. Matter of fact, let's just hop right into it. We're gonna start right with Tyler Bass. Let's hop right into it. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight too as well. I know we didn't go live last night because obviously it was election night, and we know a lot of people were glued to the TV, and the respect for that. We don't want to come on here live and stuff like that.
Yes.
So hopefully you guys are up with us tonight for a little bit. Catch a rerun. Tyler Bass. All right. Now this is a guy who a few weeks ago was forecasted as possibly a guy that could be quote unquote cut. Never really saw it myself coming. I know you didn't really see that coming at all either.
No.
Bills are bringing in competition because he was struggling, right? So what do? He misses extra point, and we see people already with the moaning and groaning. Said, here we go. He missed another one. I'm like, yeah, whatever, dude. It's not that big of a deal to me. So what do? We tried him out there with about, 10 seconds left or 9 seconds left in the game.
10 seconds, I believe it was, right?
To boot a 61-yard field goal, right? Who's going to make that, right? Nails it. Probably would have been good from damn near 70 yards if you really, really measure the yardage on that, okay?
Because it went into the stands. It was enough to hit
he nailed it.
The net.
Yeah, he nailed it. He nailed it dead on. Money. Game. Blouses. Jubilation in Buffalo. And then there came the questions. All right. And I'm going to say I really, really, really hate this question. The question of, well, now is his confidence back?
Yeah, let's talk that talk, JT. Let's talk that talk.
Please stop with is the confidence back? Listen, I've been saying for long, I don't think it's a confidence thing. It's a mechanics. It's a up and down mechanics. Mechanics get off, you fix them. Okay.
Yes.
Let's look at the facts. He's a big leg kicker. Okay, that's what he's been forecasted in college. A big leg kicker. That is what he is. Meaning, sometimes you're going to go through those bouts of inconsistency with accuracy. Okay. B2A, whatever you want to do, whatever. 2. Okay. There are stretches where he doesn't kick a lot of field goals for the Buffalo Bills. There's been stretches in games throughout seasons where he really didn't kick any challenging kicks for 5 to 6 game stretch periods.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to add to that 3. If you go back to the Brian Dable era, specifically, right, when he was younger and he was coming into his own or whatever the case may be, there was a lot of kicks we chose not to let him kick that was 54, 55 yards. Okay,
True.
And I remember on this show right here, I used to disagree with that and say, hey, the Harrison Buckers of the world, the Justin Tuckers of the world, the Evan McPhersons of the world. These guys kick those kicks. Why aren't we allowing him to kick those?
You did, JT. You did.
I've been I said it for the longest time. I don't care. I don't care if he misses them, but why aren't we allowing him to kick it instead of going for these 4th-and-4s and 4th-and-3s? And now, mind you, we weren't getting a lot of them either. It's not like we were just converting all these 4th downs. I just didn't understand, which led us to this point here, right? There's some inconsistency showing his head. The team's getting frustrated. The fans are getting frustrated. And the reality of it is the fans really got frustrated because he missed the kick versus Kansas City. That's
Yes.
really what it boils down to.
Yes.
It boils down to people were butthurt about the Kansas City loss, and they blamed it on Tyler Bass for a game-tying field goal. Not a game-winning field goal, a game-tying field goal when you were still giving Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs the ball back with a minute 50 seconds left in a big playoff game. Should he have made the kick? Absolutely. He missed it. Oh, well. Okay? Yep. But that's where it's stemming from. And what drives me crazy is, as a Bills Mafia fan base, we got half the fan base that wants to donate money, and we got the other half of the fan base that wants to burn jerseys. So, if anything about his confidence is messed up, it's probably the fans. It ain't got nothing to do with the kick, the kicking field goals. The kicking field goals his whole life. Yeah. It's the fans. So, if anything, if he's shaking or rattled or confidence, it's from you. James, I'll let you hop in. I got some more to say when you're done, too. Well,
yeah, so I was excited that he made this kick, right? It was one, I think this game right here was bigger than what anybody is giving it credit for. I don't think people are looking at how big this game was because they're looking at each team record, right? So what's happening is you were able to sweep a division opponent. You're able to also, not only are you able to sweep them, it's a divisional win, and you also you're creating a bigger gap between you and the second place team. So I think people are really, really overlooking this victory, and for him to come through in that situation, I was really, really happy for Tyler Bass to come through in that situation, to show that, hey, not only can he make the kick, which I always knew he could, but to also set a franchise record, which I think is a huge deal. Be able to set that franchise record of 61 yards, crush it, win the game, a huge game, a divisional game against a team where if they would have won that game, right, they're closer to us than what people think. Like, people aren't realizing how big of a game that was for us to create that separation. So, as a professional athlete, when people say confidence is shot, I don't always really believe that, right? Because as a professional athlete, you usually have a ton of confidence, right? In regards to what you do. You always think that you're the best at what you do, right? His job was never in jeopardy. Never. He knows that. But they brought in
competition.
A competition to let them know, like, all right, you just like everybody else. If we have to, we'll deactivate you for a game and activate this kicker, right? Kind of get them back to the fundamentals. And Sean McDermott preaches this all the time. Fundamentals, fundamentals, fundamentals. In the NFL, at the highest level, when you got the best of the best, usually when a team isn't clicking or a player's like off, usually always goes back to fundamentals. Always go back to your fundamentals and the basics, the foundation of what you do. You got to get back to that. So what it like Josh Allen, he has an off game throwing the ball. More than likely, it's the mechanics, it's the foundation. Same exact thing with receivers catching the ball. Hey, they having drops. Case of drops is usually concentration. It's usually hand placement. Understanding that. Same thing with him. Guarantee you, just getting back to the basics and being consistent with that. Because as a professional athlete, you're so good. You're the best in the world at what you do. You can still sometimes be elite and be good without the fundamentals and the basics and the foundation. But in a lot of times, so you're so good you can get away with it. The average person won't notice it. But in certain situations, it'll come back to bite you. And that's what I think happened with Tyler Bass. Is just getting back to the fundamentals and the basics consistently. So once he does that, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. We paid him for a reason. It's hard to find good kickers out here, man.
Okay. And you're 100% right. I agree with every single bit of that. Okay. And like I said, the competition they brought in, I don't know if I said it on the air or I said it in our chat, whatever the case would be. But the competition they brought in was never real competition. Okay. None of those guys they brought in were veterans or anything like that. So to me, that told me we're just putting you on notice, like he just said, basically. Come in. We know you're going to scrap this kid in the competition. because I mean Tyler Bass. First of all, he's a kicker who got drafted. All right, that's already a lot of times a different tier of a kicker.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
You're gonna scrap this kid. Second of all, it carried a $4 million dead cap hit penalty. They weren't gonna take that on for a kicker midseason. Like I said, if you were gonna make a move, it was gonna be in the offseason if you felt you need to do that, or training camp next year. All right. They were never gonna take that $4 million dead cap on. But this is the thing, okay? Tyler Bass did not come into this league being known to be a deadly accurate kicker. I believe in college, most of the time he hovered around about 78% of conversion rate in his field goal attempts, okay? In Buffalo, his rookie year, he was about 82.8%. His next 2 years, 87, and then last year, 82 again. And this year, he's hovering around 83, okay? The NFL as a whole, as with all the kickers combined, hovers around 84% of converted kick rates, okay? So my point of being is, has nothing to do with confidence. One thing you can never lie about when it comes to a lot of times in sports, 90% of the time you cannot lie about numbers and math. Yes. The math says Tyler Bass is from 82% to probably maxing out about 88, maybe even 89% on a great year. Okay? Yep. Out of 30 kicks, there's a chance he's going to miss 6 at worst. Okay? That's just what the math says. It says it from the beginning of his career to right now. 82 to pretty much 87%, 88% is where he is. So when he battles these bouts of inconsistencies, he's probably going to hover around 83%, like right now. Yep. So there's no reason to get all up in arms. Kickers aren't even making like 90% of their field goals anymore. I just told you, league average is like 84%, maybe even 83% with all kickers combined. Even Justin Tucker. Now, Harrison Butker is the one that's on a different level. He's just on a different level right now, all right? But most of the kickers, you see every week, it's inconsistencies all across the board with him, okay? We're not the only ones. It's just that you're taking out a kick that you felt would have led you to a win somehow versus the Chiefs in the playoffs, and you're taking your anger on them. Don't do that. Let's be real here. Let's not argue with the mathematics of who he is. All right. I will also say this. This is partly to blame on the Buffalo Bills' development of him. Like I said, not letting him kick those kicks through the years.
Yeah.
You know? I also wanted to compare him to Mason Crosby. Now, if you guys remember, Mason Crosby played the Green Bay Packers for like, I think almost 10, 12 years. All right? Big leg kicker. And the reason I'm bringing him up is he had bouts of inconsistency through the years, but the Green Bay never caught him. They just stuck with him. The reason being is when you play in a city like Buffalo, a city like Pittsburgh, a city like Green Bay, you hit November, you hit December, you hit January, and you're probably going to be a playoff team. That weather going to get rocky. You don't want to be switching kickers in the middle of the season. You see opposing kickers coming to these seasons all time, especially in the playoffs, and absolutely bomb these kicks because you don't know how to kick in those conditions. Right?
Absolutely.
One thing about it is Tyler Bass has been kicking in conditions about 4 to 5 years now, okay? Same thing that made Steve Christie reliable, same thing that ended up making Ryan Lindell reliable is why you hold on to him. Because that kick that he misses in great weather in September and October that's just going to piss you off.
Hauska too. Don't forget about
Hauska. Yeah, Hauska too, yeah. It's going to be the same guy that makes that kick in January that the opposing kicker cannot make because he's not used to kicking in those conditions. So let's just keep that in mind a little bit here. So I would just say, reel back a little bit, and I'm glad this kid had this happen to him. I mean, we got to meet Tyler Bass. I think it was last year before last year we met Tyler.
Not this summer, the summer before.
Summer before we met Tyler.
23. Yep.
Great dude. I think I met him before this too. Before we met him that day. Very humble dude, hard working. So I'm happy for him, ecstatic that it happened. Hopefully get these people off his back a little bit. Because I think he has a long future here in Buffalo. I really do. So, but moving on, man. Let's talk about this game a little bit. Let's see. Did I forget? Wait a minute. I may have forgot one of the borders. Hold on. Ooh. Well, yeah, I certainly did. That's okay. We'll move on. I want to talk about the Bills' run defense. Now, obviously, in this particular game, let me just look up the stats here. I thought I had them up there. Oh, and by the way, I also done the Tyler Bass stat. Before that kick yesterday, I just want to let you guys know, Tyler Bass was 9 of 10 in game-winning or game-tying field goals within the last 2 minutes of a game or overtime.
Yep.
I just want to throw that out there, okay? He was 9 of 10. Now, I don't know if they included that Kansas City Chief miss or not. If they didn't include that, it'd be 9 of 11, but just saying he's been pretty clutch. No reason to keep harping on him like this is like a thing of him missing clutch kicks, something like that. He makes them when they matter. All right. So, what did you think about the Bills' defense overall in that game, James, versus the Miami Dolphins?
I didn't mind it because when you play a team like that, you have Waddle, you have Tyreek Hill, you got Mostert and Aisha that can all catch the ball and do some things in the passing game for you. So if I'm a betting man, I'm willing to bet Sean McDermott said, okay, one thing we're not going to allow them to do is come in here and throw the ball all over the yard on us and be able to beat us in the passing game, and two will make us look foolish. Tyreek Hill have 120 yards, Waddle have 80, something ridiculous like that, right? So they took them out, they took the passing game away and said they can live with. They knew you're not going to be able to run the ball and just beat us. You can have some success running the ball, but their team isn't built that way. Their team isn't built to win that way. Sean McDermott and that defensive staff was smart enough to understand that is something they're not comfortable with doing, and they probably wouldn't have beaten us like that. The goal was to win, right? And we were able to accomplish that. Yeah, they ran for a lot of yards, but you still came up short, right? One thing that would have been foolish if we sat here and say, well, you know they got Waddle, you know they got Tyreek Hill. How can we let them pass the ball for 300 and whatever yards, right?
Right.
I think it was more game plan than we just got punked off, and that's just my opinion there. I'm not too concerned with it. I think we're all right. I think we're all right.
All right. I'd say I'm a little concerned. Only reason I am a little concerned, the main reason being is, you know that you're going to be going to the playoffs, and you know you're going to see the Ravens possibly. You may see Pittsburgh. You may see Kansas City, who have actually, you do have to talk about Kansas City running the football.
Yeah.
So I would say, you know, we've seen them beat us before with playing ball control football, right? So my big concern is playing those type of teams. It is a concern for me because those teams have very good quarterbacks, very good coaching, okay? And I hate to see we go to playoffs where our offense is starting off slow and we got teams that just kind of chugging the ball on us run that clock down, getting down the field and putting points on the board. We're not scoring. Or put us down on the board and running the football, okay? Now, I'd say that we're in the middle of the pack as far as run defense goes. You know, we're allowing 123 yards a game. Now, if you go to this game particularly, we allow 4.8 yards to carry, 149 yards, or 31 attempts. Back to your point, when we get inside that 20-25 yard line, it seems like we bend but don't break on that run game. We kind of, when we condense the field, we play a little bit better.
Yes.
It almost reminds me of the first year's McDermott's defense.
Yes, it does. It does.
Okay.
It does. It definitely does.
So, it's like, all right, they're going to get some first down. They even control the type of play at times. But once they get into that 30-yard line, the 25, it's going to be condensed. It's going to be a lot harder for them to score. Okay? Overall, I'm not going to overreact to this game because I think Miami caught me off guard with their game plan. And I'm pretty sure they probably caught Buffalo off guard in the first half as well. Instead of trying to run those perimeter runs, those outside zones and things like that, it's like they really kind of came downhill on them. Which, kudos to Mike McDaniel and staff. They must have saw something possibly on film, because like I said, seeing Miami run between the tackles like that with Mostert and A-Chain,
It's weird, right?
it was strange. It was really strange. So it had to be something on. It had to be something they saw on film. But overall, the Bills came back in the second half. They slowed them down a lot with it, and then obviously Teron Johnson made the big play of stripping Mostert, which huge play at that time.
Yes, it was.
I would have liked to saw the Bills try to make a move for a defensive tackle, and I know we're talking about Brandon Beane and no trades at that line, but obviously we did sign Jordan Phillips, we did sign Quentin Jefferson, two guys who are going to come in that's familiar with the system. They're solid. Neither one of those guys are guys that's going to necessarily wow you and say, hey, we're going to jump off the screen and we're going to stop the run now.
Yep.
No, but they know the scheme. They know what McDermott wants to do. They know what Bobby Babbage wants to do. They're familiar with it. And obviously right now, defensive tackle, we need bodies. With Dwayne Carter being out for an unknown time period, and then Dwayne Smoot now going out for an unknown time period, we really need some big bodies up on that D-line. And to bring two guys in that are seasoned veterans and actually familiar with the city and the system, it's a very, very seamless transition there, I'd say.
It seems like when Quentin Jefferson, talking about Quentin Jefferson and Jordan Phillips, for whatever reason, Jordan Phillips plays a lot better here than he's played anywhere else, right? A lot of times it could be scheme. A lot of times it could be just comfort. Like, you're comfortable. You get what I'm saying? Like, that matters. And then Quentin Jefferson, when he left here, that dude was balling. He played well. Like, when he left here, he really played well. Like, he played really, really well. Like, last year, if I'm not mistaken, he had his career high in sacks last year, 6.5.
Yeah.
So it's like, we not getting chopped liver here. This dude is going to be able to come in and give us some quality snaps. Right? Jordan Phillips hasn't put great film out this year, right? But at the end of the day, you got a guy who knows the scheme. He's 6'6", 340 pounds, and he plays with a motor and he brings energy, right? That's what you're going to need for 10 snaps. Where people are acting like you're going to trade for somebody, realistically, that you were going to come out here and play 40 snaps a game. That's not what you're looking for. You paid Daquan Jones for that. Obviously, Ed Oliver's getting paid for that. You're looking for rotational guys who, when you call upon them, you don't have to say, oh, damn, I can't call this defense or I can't call this because they don't know what's happening or somebody got... You can call whatever it is you need to call because these guys are familiar with the system and you can play ball. It's not going to slow anything up. And those guys are going to come in and give you 10 to 15 quality snaps a game. That's all we're looking for. That's all.
Yeah. Like I said, veterans know the system, know what they're doing out there. And honestly, Quentin Jefferson, I think, he may have something more to prove this second go-round. I mean, if you think about his first go-round Buffalo, that first three quarters, half of the season really was not good here in Buffalo.
He was playing a ton of nose. And that's when we were like searching for like nose help. And he's 290 pounds, right? 290, 295, right?
Yeah.
He's not a nose. You know what I'm saying? So that guy, you move him around, you can put him in the passes. I love bringing those two in to see what they can give us. I do. I don't mind it because people quit. This isn't Madden franchise mode, where you can go in the free agent pool and find somebody with an 80 overall, plug them in the video game, and they come out there ball. It's not that. These are human beings. You have to find like people, like the system. Look how special Amani Cooper is. We had to, slowly bring them into the system, like into the offense. The same thing with the D lineman. Like, you want to run games on third down, right? You want to run different stunts, and these guys got to know what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? These guys are going to be able to know these calls. They're going to be able to know these stunts. They're gonna be comfortable with it. I think that it was a very smart move. Like I said, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But the worst case scenario, they're going to give you average play.
Yeah, I thought it was solid moves for and that I don't see an issue with it. Like I said, and then when Dwayne Carter comes back, you can figure out what rotation you like to run. If Dwayne Carter comes back, I don't know if he's even coming back, but. Another guy I hate to see go down because I said he was really, really working. And then as we talk about the run game too, at some point we will get Matt Milano back. And I think you still have Terrell Bernard knocking off that rust. He
Yep.
doesn't seem like he's fully back to form yet. And I think the safeties are starting to get a little bit more stronger in their run fits. So the season goes on, hopefully, there'll be an improvement there with
Yeah.
everything. But not a major concern right now. I am curious to see how we do in this matchup versus Jonathan Taylor, and that'll be a telling sign of where we are because we saw the Dolphins run all over us this week in the first half, but then you saw Kenneth Walker get nothing. So
I think Jonathan Taylor will have some success.
I mean, John, they JT. This is what they do.
Yeah.
What they do. Will lead to a win, will lead to points on the board. I think that's the bigger question. If he gashes us like he did a couple of years back, then we got to talk about something.
Yeah.
So, but moving on, man. Jordan Poyer came back to Buffalo. It's kind of weird, man. I ain't gonna lie, it's kind of weird seeing him in that Miami uniform in Buffalo Stadium. There's probably a lot of emotions there. We had a big play in this game. Honestly, a game-changing play that actually aided Buffalo. All right, deep pass down the field from Josh Allen to Keon Coleman. A ball that I feel Keon Coleman should have came down with.
He should have caught. That was a drop.
Yep,
that was a drop.
Should have came down with it, and he had one earlier in the game as well. On Jalen Ramsey on that slant pass that he should have caught and pretty much walked into the end zone. And it led to an interception. But they're there. They drop, and Jordan Poyer cleaned them up. Led to a 15-yard penalty, unnecessary roughness, hit the defensive receiver. Keon Coleman is now injured. They say he may miss multiple weeks. They didn't exactly say what the injury was, but it's something obviously in the wrist area. Jordan Poyer has something to say after the game. He said he basically felt that the hit was, he thought that was a clean play. It was just a football play. He has to make that play on the football, basically.
Yes.
A lot of Bills fans up in arms. That was a dirty hit, blah, blah, blah. James, what do you think?
Nah, he was playing hard football. I mean, we know Jordan Poyer played here for, 7 years? That dude wasn't nothing dirty about him. He played football the right way.
Yep.
And to be honest with you, he plays like that with the Bills all the time. Nothing dirty about that play. That was a very physical football play. I have zero issues with it. I bet no players on the field had a problem with it. Obviously, you want the call when you see that. Hey, we want that 15.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
in regards to it being dirty, heck no. There wasn't nothing dirty about that play. He was playing fast. He was playing physical. He played hard.
Listen, the game's 27-27. It's a deep shot down the field. If this kid comes up with this ball, they're in easy field goal range.
Yep.
Okay? Nothing dirty about it. Like I said, is it a penalty? In this NFL, that is now a penalty.
Yes.
But there's a difference between a penalty and intent to injure that would be considered dirty. There was no intent to injure. He came in with his shoulder. Yeah, he got a little bit of the helmet, but you can see it. It's right here on the screen. Okay, in the bottom left, you guys are looking. He let with the shoulder. His wrist is like this. He's leaning into him. He's trying to dislodge the football. Unfortunately, in this NFL game, that's a penalty. But overall, it was a tough play that as a safety with your season on the line, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yes.
Unfortunately, Keon Coleman is injured due to it. But hey, that's the game of football.
If you make the catch, you're not injured.
Right. I personally like to see him and catch instead of catching that ball here. I prefer to see him catch that ball up
high
here.
pointed.
So no, nothing dirty in my opinion. I know he catching a lot of flack from the Miami fan bases, saying that he purposely did it to help the Bills. This is a mess.
I ain't gonna lie, JT. I'm very, very, very surprised that he wasn't one of those people that were released.
Yeah.
I'm very surprised. I'm not gonna lie. I'm surprised with that.
Yeah. I know Cindy's talking about the Shakir hit. Now the first game when he hit Shakir in the back of the head, I said, okay, that may have been a little bit of a cheap shot in going back to the first game, but this wasn't dirty. This was just a football play. Bang bang play, just trying to dislodge the football. I mean, now he could have went in there full fledged, helmet down, under the chin, and damn near tried to kill the kid. He did.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think that I also say this too. I don't like what I saw um from the Bills fan base and attacking Jordan Poyer and Rachel Bush and stuff. Listen, let's not lose sight of how much this guy left on the court. I mean, left on the field for us, and how much he gave this franchise of himself. Yeah. Okay, and for let's be honest, for the money he left on the table as well, playing here throughout the years.
Yes, okay? He did.
Don't do that. Don't go after him like that. He deserves all that respect in the world. The respect that you gave Bruce when he came back and played, and different players like that, and Daryl Talley and Cornelius Bennett, you need to give him that same respect. And I hope one day that his name goes on that wall as well, because he deserves it for the way he played here in Buffalo.
His name should go on the Wall of Fame. Him and Micah Hyde.
Yep, absolutely. They ushered in a new era of Buffalo football. Okay, and they held it together when you didn't have a pass rush, you didn't have some linebackers, you didn't have a quarterback. Okay, you didn't have a running game. They went through it all. You didn't have receivers at one point. They went through it all. So
yeah.
Okay, they held you steady. So treat them with more respect. But I will say this: I know a lot of it is brought on by the behavior of his brother on X since the
Bills. His brother out there acting a donkey, JT.
Acting an ass. It's an ass, man. Like, listen, I get that, it's your family member. We just had this conversation about DeMar Hamlin's dad the other week, okay? This dude had just been going at it since the summer, since he was released, okay? We all knew everybody in the world knew he was getting released after this season.
Yep.
After last season. Everybody knew it, okay? It's a business. It's unfortunate, but they gave him another year. Say okay, tip your hat, and move on. Not this dude. This dude is taking it personal. Then he's arguing with people. Now he got to block people. Like, don't be that dude that talks shit and then go block people later. When you get in the business back, don't do that. Don't be a softy. Okay? Like, and not for nothing, when Poyer's family came to this game, his dad and his brother, these games, they were very well taken care of by the fan base. All these tailgates, the free food, you give us all our shit back then that you took. If you're gonna sit there and talk that garbage, don't do that, man. Like he spurned a lot of it, and he got the wheels turned on, and he still won't shut up. About I remember when Poyer got released, he put out there, "This is how you treat your people who change your culture." Yeah, this happens to everybody, dude. This has been happening in the NFL for the last 60 years.
Tom Brady didn't end his career as a Patriot. Just let that sink in.
Thurman, Bruce, go to that Wall of Fame.
Even Peyton Manning ended his career somewhere else. Like, it happens.
This is part of the game, bro. Don't take it personal. It is what it is. All right? They brought him back for one more year and tried to let him run it back when they really should switch the safeties out the year before.
Yeah. Yep. They gave him an extra year.
They gave him an extra year to try one more shot at it. They tried, okay? But yeah, man, dude just acting the ass, man. Just dude, cool dude, but damn, dude, shut your damn mouth. Let's see. Hold on. See it. Cindy says, "Speaking of Hyde, so much chatter about them bringing Hyde back. Thoughts? A lot of chatter about them bringing Hyde back. Thoughts? I don't know.
I think we one injury away from that being a consideration on safety. Let's hope we don't have any. Let me ask you this. Is there any other free agent you would even consider at the safety position? I think no. So that if it's God forbid, if there is an injury, it's probably Micah Hyde. But I think that's an emergency, like literally an emergency situation.
Yeah.
Let me ask the question: is Jamal Adams signed?
I thought he did. I don't know, but I
thought he got released. I didn't. I know he got released.
He got cut.
He asked for his release from Tennessee.
There's no scenario in this world we could lose the whole safety room to some getting locked in an elevator, and I still would not sign Jamal Adams.
Listen, so you wouldn't sign him to be our in the box safety?
I wouldn't sign him to deliver water. There is in no situation that I will sign Jamal Adams to Buffalo Bills.
Let me ask this: would you consider signing Xavier Howard to be a safety?
Yep. Yep. I would. But that guy, Jamal Adams, not a chance in hell. Can't step a foot on my football field. You know why? Because I'm gonna tell you the main reason why. A, he can't cover worth a damn. Okay.
We know that. Yeah.
B, now he's injury prone because he's playing inside the box. And then three, the biggest problem, the reason why is he still thinks he's that guy.
Yeah.
Okay? He still thinks he's that guy and he's no longer that guy. He
Agreed.
actually really was, in my opinion, he never really was that guy. He was just being utilized the right way and his stats were inflated.
I know one thing. I'll tell you this. If I trust anybody to use somebody like that the right way, it's McDermott and Babbage.
I don't say it. Why? Where can we use him?
Well, don't forget,
unusable.
well, in my opinion, I'm not looking at him being a 40, 50 snap guy. I'm looking at him being a situational guy in general. Just throwing that out there. Because nobody we bring in, let's get this clear. Nobody we bring in is going to play 40, 30, 40 snaps.
Right.
That's not happening. Period. So any person that I mention I'm more thinking situational 10 to 15 snaps a game. That's me. Maybe 20.
Let me ask this. What situation do you feel that they could use him in? Just blitzing?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can use him on first and second downs, right? I think if you can put him in the game in first and second down situations, it will help with the run game. He's a linebacker. Let's be honest here. He's a linebacker. So you kind of look at him, you bring him up. Who was used like that? It was Mark Barron was used like that with the Rams. Yeah. They converted him. Dude, he would probably excel at that position. Like, yo, just like get at him. He probably would.
They tried in Seattle. He got hurt twice.
Well, I get it, but
his little ass in that box, he got toe up in there.
No, I ain't gonna say it. He about 220. I know we won't. I'm just throwing it out there because we want injury. God forbid, once again, we're one injury away from saying, okay, who do we go to? Yeah. Because right now we have Cole Bishop, we have Hamlin, you have Rapp, you have Cam Lewis.
And you know what? Ray Cruz makes a good point. I forgot. We do still have Kareem Jackson on the practice squad. Yeah, he made a really good point.
We do. Yeah, I just wasted a couple minutes of y'all time because that's who we get called up.
I'm just saying. Listen,
that's damn sure who we get called up.
You may be right on Jamal Adams. I'm telling you, man, I'm not touching that, man. I am good on that, man. He can stay.
No, they Kareem. I forgot we got Kareem Jackson. Thanks for that's a good call out, Ray. That would definitely that's the move right there.
But moving on before we get deep out of here and talk about the offense, Brandon Beane decided to stay put at the trade deadline. Obviously, we took care of the receiver position with trading for Amari Cooper. The running back room is good. Our offensive line is one of the best offensive lines in the league. We obviously don't need a quarterback. Tight ends are fine. Dawson Knox he's still picking up paychecks on Wednesdays, but he's usable. We got his location. We got his location on. So other than that, I think we're fine. Like I said, the only thing I saw was, I know we went back and forth talking about this. I know you kind of would prefer to see a safety possibly brought in. I'd prefer to see a defensive tackle brought in. They brought two in. It just wasn't through trade, but they still brought two in that we're actually familiar with, so I can't get too much upset that. Any issues with passing on the trade deadline?
Zero. Don't make a trade just to make a trade. It got to be something that makes sense now and something that makes sense in the future. True, think about this Amari Cooper trade. It makes sense right now, but even if you don't sign him back, you getting another draft pick back for the compensatory pick for him walking. You win all the way around. Don't just bring somebody in just to give away capital to just see what happens. That makes no sense. Like a lot of people get caught up in saying Matt, like you can't just sign people to or trade for people to trade for people. If it don't make sense, don't make a trade at all. I love it. If that's the case, no stupid trade happened. That's a win for us.
Yeah,
Um, I'm good with it.
yeah. And that's why I say, like, it, especially teeter around $3 million in cap space. It's not really. That's barely. That's just enough operating space, capital. Okay, you don't want to do that. I was fine with nothing at the deadline. We need a receiver. He got that a couple weeks ago. I'm fine. Like I've been saying about the safety position. No matter what happens, if Taylor Rapp is going to play regardless as long as he's healthy. Okay,
Yes.
you're not pulling him off the football field. That's fine. Your question mark is DeMar Hamlin at times. If DeMar Hamlin struggles, you're probably going to relegate to Cole Bishop, which was probably the plan in the first place.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
If
I just
if
yeah,
that
I totally agree there.
if that doesn't work, then you're probably going to pick up that phone and call 23. But hey, listen, we need you here. But long term, your guy is Cole Bishop. That's why you say short term and long term. That's what problem with trading for a guy like a Buda Baker, who's come up on a contract. Unless you're going to go all in, you're going to trade some nice draft capital to get him. You would have traded some nice draft capital to get him. It's almost like, all right, well, what's the plan past this year? Are you going full blown Los Angeles Rams on this and just bringing everybody in and say screw it, we're going all in for the Super Bowl ring, and then whatever happens after happens? That's not that we talked about this last year. That's just not their way of operation.
Yeah, because that's short term success. They want to be a contender every year. How they're doing it through the draft, I love it.
Yeah, so it's just
Because
not.
every year as a Bills fan, long as Josh Allen's at quarterback, we have some type of chance
Yep,
of making it. We know we have some type of chance.
right. And like I said, our cap space is going to come right back around in 2020. We'll be a little bit lower this year. We'll be better than we were last year for
To
100%.
open up the stadium, they're gonna be loaded for that
There you go.
year to open the stadium. They know what they're
Yeah,
doing.
yeah,
They
yeah,
want to.
100%.
If we can get one between now and then, but that first year at the stadium, oh man, oh boy.
Yeah. And I was gonna say too. Um, I was gonna say too. As far as the defensive tackle spot goes, that's probably something that with the draft we're gonna have 3 picks in the top 64, regardless. Okay. You gotta address defensive end and you gotta address defensive tackle.
Yes. So these are, and not to get too far off topic, but the does tie in the trade deadline. So we got with three. No, we got 3 picks in the top 64, right?
Mm-hmm.
Three in the top 64. So I'm thinking with the first 3 picks, one of these positions you're gonna sign a good veteran free agent. You're gonna spend some money on. The other three are gonna be draft picks.
Yep.
Defensive end, defensive tackle, safety,
Yep.
corner.
Yep.
Those four, right? And then when you talk offensive side of the ball, if you drafted anything high, it's a wide receiver.
That's
You're
it.
not
That's it.
drafting. You're not drafting an offensive lineman high unless somebody falls. You can't pass up on. You're not drafting a quarterback high. Obviously, you're not drafting a tight end high. Obviously, you're not drafting a running back high. Obviously, you are going to draft a wide receiver in the first couple rounds. If somebody falls, you like. Other than that, you are going to get a safety, a defensive lineman, or a corner.
Yep. Basically. I know Cindy asked, were you able to look into who we should extend pronto? I'll give you 3 names, and I can talk about it more extensively probably next week. But I've obviously Christian Benford, um, Greg Rousseau, and then I throw Amari Cooper on there. Those would be my three that if you're looking to get extension, those would be my three off the top of my head. That hey, these are the 3 guys. We don't really have many. We don't have many free agents as it is going
No,
into
we
the next
don't.
offseason. We very few. Who? What about you, James?
So I'm going to go a little bit different. I'm thinking Russo, Benford, James Cook.
Okay, yep. You know what? I forgot about Cook. Yeah. You got to throw Cook on that list. 100%. 100%. You do.
Because I think he's gonna be the first one because it's gonna be the easiest one.
Yeah.
They'll probably go in the order I think, and it's no prioritize it this way. This is what I think is gonna happen. Cook, Benford, Russo.
Yeah. Yeah. I gotta. Yeah. Yeah. You're probably because they picked the Rousseau's 5th-year option, which gives you a little bit more time. I think he'll be done by camp next year.
And the longer you wait on Benford, the more expensive it's going to be. So
Yeah,
just get it done.
yeah. All right, moving on to. We'll actually move on. We'll bring D Dot in. D Dot, what is going on? What is going on?
What up, fellas? How y'all doing?
Good, good, good. Let's talk a little bit of offense. Obviously, the Bills had another efficient day of offense. We're gonna start off with the topic of our guy, Cowboy Ray Davis, wrangling the big plays.
What's up?
Another big play this week. What was it? 63-yard reception for a touchdown.
Yeah, yeah, 63 yarder, man. It's crazy.
You know what I mean? So, man, Cowboy Ray Davis. I want you to talk about how do you feel that the Bills are using him and what he's bringing to this offense now, and how his combination with James Cook is leading to problems for defenses.
Yeah, man. So I think we talked about it last week. How Ray Davis is a little bit of a change of pace guy. Still got juice. Still has pop, but he brings a different level of physicality for teams. And you can even see when he caught that 63 yarder, he caught it in the flat. He turned the field. You could see that DB, man. He didn't want any part of that, man. He didn't want any part of that. As a matter of fact, I know James saw that. I know that, man. I know it. That DB look, he was like, oh shoot. And you know what I'm saying? And then he just killed his ankle. He killed the ankle, got off field. And what I really like about that run after the catch though was he was very decisive. You know, he didn't pitter patter, he didn't stop his feet, he stuck his foot in the ground and he went vertical, man. And he ran right through that arm tackle, and we already know what else happened after that, man. Pay dirt. So I love how the Bills are using him. Specifically for this game. Seemed like the Dolphins were capping the offense, rushing 5, dropping 6, typically. Basically like, hey, make a play, you know what I'm saying, after you catch the ball, and that's what Ray Davis did.
Yeah. What do you see from James Cook? Obviously, it seems like he's more well rested with Ray Davis. They're giving Ray Davis a little bit more carries, and then you're actually mixing in Ty Johnson, which I think that's one of the guys that we don't talk about when we talk about this roster and as a team. We don't talk about him enough in the versatility that he brings. But James Cook and let's speak on Ty Johnson a little bit too.
Yeah, so I think all three guys are very opportunistic, right? They're taking advantage of the opportunities that they get and the touches that they get. James Cook the more he plays, he's becoming more of just an efficient back. That's it, man. I mean, 4 yards a pop, 5 yards here, 6 yards there. Then all of a sudden, next thing you know, he's popping like a 12-yard run. And it seems as though he's getting a better feel for not always wanting a home run play. And I know that could be hard for, running backs. James has spoken to our little league guys, and I know this completely 2 different levels, but ball is ball. Talking to our little league guys, man, about not always wanting the home run play. There's nothing wrong with a 6-yard run. There's nothing wrong with a 10-yard run. I've heard this guy say that a million times. So I think that James Cook he has a good feel for that. Pressing the hole, getting what he could get, getting what the scheme allows for, getting what the defense is allowing for. And then Ty Johnson, man, he's like that change-up pitch. I think with him, you just don't know what you're gonna get. You don't know if you're gonna get an inside zone. You don't know if you're gonna get an outside zone where this guy gonna stick his foot in the ground and he's gonna out leverage your defense. It's so many different things that that they could do with these guys. And I love how Brady is actually putting together the packages, because it seems like he's putting them all in at the right time when the defense is trying to adjust, and then they're able to counter to whatever the defense is trying to do or whatever leverages they're trying to pull.
James, what you got on Ray Davis, man?
He's a baller. The most effective running backs in NFL get vertical quick as possible. And it's that simple. Why you think Reggie Bush didn't succeed as a running back in the NFL, right? You got to get vertical. You can't be east and west. He gets vertical really, really quick. James Cook, his rookie year, he didn't run well in between the tackles because he didn't get vertical, right? Fast enough. So when you look at James Cook, you look at Ray Davis, these guys get vertical quick as hell. Like, they up the field. They finding the seam, they getting vertical. Bam, bam, bam. They're getting vertical. Vertical cuts. All the cuts they make are vertical cuts. They're not making cuts going east and west. They're making cuts and getting vertical. They're always gaining yards. It's a positive. As a running back, man, I love to see that. Ty Johnson once again. It does a ball. I love this backfield. I really do. I really, really feel confident with the way he's been running as a rookie. You and I both, JT. I didn't know much about Ray Davis coming out of the draft. I didn't. I'm not the draft guru type of guy. JT, I leave that to you. I wanted us to draft Braylon Allen over him.
Yeah.
Dude is looking. They knew exactly what the heck they was doing, man. Because this dude is everything we've been looking for. When we signed Frank Gore, right? Not saying he's Frank Gore. Please don't get it twisted. But what he's providing is what we thought we would have there. He was good for us, but you get what I'm saying. That style of running back, physical, getting those tough yards, run blocker. You can throw him the ball, he can get some yards. I love what he's providing. Him and James Cook in the backfield together, low key, is starting to become one of the best duos in the NFL. Still some work to do, but man, think about it. You got both these guys again next year on rookie deals. Dude, that's crazy.
I'll actually even go a step further. Besides Frank Gore, when we drafted Zach Moss, I think this is what they thought they were getting.
Yes, 100%.
Okay, because this is the combo that they wanted with Zach Moss before he requested the trade. This is really what they were looking for. So, no, I mean, I'm ecstatic. Like I said, I was on the board with you with Braylon Allen. That's the guy I thought I would have preferred.
He ain't doing nothing out there in New York.
Well, he's not getting an opportunity either.
Yeah, that means he out here, but still, he ain't doing nothing.
Yeah, I mean, when he plays, he does okay. I'm not gonna knock the kid, but they are using a lot of double bill running back sets. With him.
Well, you do know what the problem is right now, right, JT? The problem is he's dancing and not getting vertical quick enough. That's the problem right now with him.
With Braylon Allen?
Yes.
Well, he's only getting like 3. I mean, not for that. He's only getting 3 carries a game. But I think really what the issue was there is you can't take Breece Hall off the football field because of what he does in the receiving game.
Well, earlier in the season he was until he stopped getting vertical. The problem is you got a 250-pound back who's trying to shimmy. That's why your carries go down, because you got a 250-pound back who's 6'3", who's supposed to be running like he Brandon Jacobs or something, right, who's thinking he's Tim Bianca Batuka, trying to make people miss and all of that. So that's not gonna work, man.
Right. No, I mean, like I said, I'm happy with we got the kid. Like I said, I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't want to hate on the guy. I'm glad that we have him.
Yes, I am too.
I think he's a good fit here. And like I said, it's something that we needed. We haven't had a second back. Like I said, Ty Johnson came in the second half of last year, and it really helped us out a lot. But
100%.
Now we have a three-headed monster back there, and you know you're going to need that for the playoffs. You're going to need it. So, but moving on, man, I want to talk about the offense. D-Dot, the Bills had Allen led the Bills to their 6th 30-point game this season. Obviously, a little bit more. I would have preferred to see a little bit more balance between the run and the pass, but he's 25. He's a modest 25 or 39, 235 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. He was only sacked once, and he actually turned in 2 carries for 7 yards. He would have had a touchdown if they didn't call him that bogus Hogan to go. But hey, what did you see from the offense as a whole this game, and what did they do to Miami to put up another 30-point game?
Yeah, so I'm gonna deem this as the Josh Allen patience game. Game here. Seems as though Miami was cool with capping the offense, trying to keep everything in front of them, not trying to run around and chase guys. Even a lot of times I saw Jalen Ramsey bump into the slot to try to cap Shakir, which I found very, very interesting at a point in time in the game. I saw that. I remember seeing that specifically in the first half. I don't know about the second half if they were doing the same thing. But you can see Josh processing the defense and basically taking what the defense gave him. That's how he was able to hit the Ray Davis 63-yarder because you can see they were capping everybody. And I think once he caught it out, there was 2 guys he had to beat. You know what I mean? And he got downfield and scored a 60+ yarder. So I like the patience of Allen. And to be quite honest with you guys, I don't know how you guys may feel about this, but this kind of gave me vibes back to the Ravens game as far as the play selection. You know what I mean? Get ball out his hand. Let guys try to make some, get some rack yards after the catch. Only difference was it didn't seem like Miami was just pinning their ears back. Baltimore has a better front, number one, on defense, in my opinion. Two, it seemed as though they weren't pinning their ears back and just tagging off on guys. It looked like they were actually dropping into coverage and saying, "Hey, Josh, you beat us with your reads," right? So with that, Josh didn't force the ball downfield. He didn't do anything stupid. I mean, he went 64%. I mean, one pick, which really wasn't his fault. We know that was on Coleman. Keep it a buck. And yeah, man, I mean, I think he just played efficient. He played really efficient. What was it? Shakir was six receptions for 50 yards. Now, what I will say is this. One thing I'll say is this, is we can see what the offense looks like without Coop. And how when you got a guy who dictates the coverage and dictates what the defense is going to do, how monumental that is for not only the offense's success, but also Josh's success. I think we had Kincaid had 10 targets, and he only caught four passes. I mean, tighter windows, you know what I mean? A little bit more difficult to be able to get him the ball. We see what it looks like without Coop, man. So, I mean, I hope that people have an appreciation for what, Coop brings to the table, even if he's not having a 100-plus game, receiving yards and things,
You got to account for him.
Yes, absolutely.
I'll say this. Like I said, I from my standpoint, offense, I like to see Kincaid and Allen get to that 60% completion percentage between each other. Okay, like I said, we've been kind of talking about this since the beginning of the season. Missed throws here and there. I know he missed Kincaid low twice, where he had him open. Which is the difference between 4 catches on 10 targets for 32 yards compared to 6 catches for now probably about 55 to 60 yards on 10 targets. That's a big difference in a football game, especially a football game will separate by 3 points. He did seem a little off to me at times. The ball was releasing a little bit low on him that game. I'm still getting a little bit concerned about what's going to happen with Curtis Samuel. When are we going to see Curtis Samuel involved in this offense? Especially now that we may be down Keon Coleman for a couple weeks. James, you got anything? Like, are you worried about Curtis Samuel's role yet?
No. Because when we signed him, I thought we signed him to be a Deebo Samuel. I didn't think we signed a wide receiver. I looked at us signing a weapon. A guy that you scheme open, right? You scheme where there's going to be games where he's not effective. I'm telling y'all right now, there's going to be a game this year, he's going to have about 120, 130 receiving yards. And people's going to say, where has this been? We signed him to be a weapon. They didn't sign him to be a primary receiver. He is not signed to be your X. He is not signed to be your Z receiver. He is signed to be a weapon. If that was the case, you wouldn't draft Keon Coleman that high. He was signed to be a weapon. So I would like to see him use more, but you got to understand when you game plan in each and every week, where's the weaknesses? Where are we going to attack, right? Now, people want their cake and eat it too. So people want Shakir to get the ball. People want Keon Coleman to play as a rookie, right, and get a lot of snaps. And then let's be real. Mac Hollins earned reps. He did. He earned reps. So with those 3 guys alone at the wide receiver room, Shakir, Keon Coleman, Mac Hollins earned reps. Where is there a lot of targets for Samuel? It's not at the receiver position. That's where now we got to start throwing some of those screens. You got to start throwing them those, right? You got to get them involved that way. Not saying that I'm happy with the way they've used them, but am I worried? No. I would like for some more design plays to him. I think you'll see that within the next couple of weeks more, especially with the injury to Coleman. I think you're a little bit more creative now with getting him the ball. I think you'll see him lined up in the backfield some. You'll probably see a split backfield. Him and Cook back there, him coming out the backfield getting targets, him out the slot. I mean, I think you will now. I really do. But I'm just not like some people are. Just because you look at what they signed him for, you didn't sign the X or Z. You didn't. You signed a weapon. Sure. So just if people just look at it that way, you'll be fine. if he comes out in the playoffs, he has 5 catches for 80 yards in the game. Who's going to give a damn about how many targets he had in the damn regular season? Like, honestly, JT, if we're in the divisional game, Curtis, you got to account for that dude because he can play. Curtis Samuel, he's healthy now. Just say he's healthy. We play a divisional game. We playing Baltimore, whatever. The man has 5 catches, 80 yards, and we win the game. Who's going to go back and say, well, he didn't have such and such in the regular? Nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to care. We got that. We got that weapon.
I will. I'm serious. I will. Because, and the reason I say that is because you just cut a guy who I thought was very similar to Curtis Samuel.
Who?
And Hardy. That was cheaper than Curtis Samuel, who actually at this point in time had more targets than Curtis Samuel. And he made a game-changing play versus Miami in the last game of the season. They still cut him for it.
He did. But there's, you can't use him the same way you use Curtis Samuel. You can't, because physically he just wouldn't hold up, JT. He wouldn't. You can't use him because you're talking about Curtis Samuel. And I mean, I'm not a size person, but when you just look at their stature, you can't. Yeah, they're both fast. They're both shifty. Yes,
right.
But you're talking about somebody that's 5'5", right. 5'6". Curtis Samuel's 6 foot. It's different.
But let me ask this question, okay? And mind you, I'm not just getting skeptical now because he's not being part of the offense. I was skeptical of the signing when we got him. The day we got him, I was. When has he ever held up?
He hasn't. He's never. But this is my point. He hasn't held up when you're using him as an X or a Z. One of your top two. You heard what I said. You signed him as a weapon. You didn't sign him as an X or Z. If you bring him in and your expectation was for him to have 80 targets, that's not. I guarantee you, if you talk to Brandon Beane, then we would love that. But if you talk to Brandon Beane or Sean McDermott and Brady, they'll say we brought this guy in to be a weapon. Was it a little bit higher than price tag than we would like? Yeah, definitely. But you brought this guy in to be. This is what this is going to pay off at is when you got a big game in January. When you got that guy in your huddle that you can use. You do. Once again, am I happy with the way we're using them? No. Am I concerned? Well, no, I'm not concerned either. You get what I'm saying? Because I understood how, like, I would use somebody like that who does have an injury history. We talked about that when we signed him. He does have an injury history. So if you know a guy isn't going to hold up that way, you got to understand how to use them. But him and Hardy, their skill sets aren't the same. I mean, Hardy, put it like this, I would love to Hardy have. I was against. He should still be our returner, in my opinion. You know how I feel. I like having him here. But Curtis Samuel, I mean, I like that he's on our side. Let me say that much.
We'll see. I mean, I think the guy could be a Swiss Army knife, but right now he's a butter knife, and he ain't cutting nothing.
But let's be real. But JT, where's the snaps right now? When if you want Shakir, you want Shakir's gonna be on the field, right? Mac Hollins earned those reps, and then you gotta play Coleman to be able to get him ready. You can't just sit him on the bench.
So it was a signing, a just in case signing. So we're paying somebody $8 million for just in case. Then.
Sometimes you do.
I mean, it happens. We're paying.
But don't forget, you sign certain people for situations. You sign certain people to be a weapon against the Kansas City. You sign somebody to be a weapon late in the season against the Ravens. What we've done hasn't worked. So you're gonna try something different. You're gonna have somebody like we haven't had somebody like this in our offense. We haven't. We had somebody that we had a fast guy. We've had McKenzie. We've had Hardy, right? None of them were the proven type of receivers that he can be. Now, if you ask him for this guy to come in here and be a weapon from time to time, he can be that. But we got to figure out how we're going to use him during this time. Now, I have no problem with it. I really don't. I really don't have no problem with assigning him. It's just figuring out how. You get what I'm saying? And if we 8-2, 7-2 with figuring that out, I can live with that. Now, if we talking about this and we were 500, totally different story. What we doing is working. I'm not. Don't. Excuse my French. Don't fuck with that. If it's working, come on. You can get too cute sometimes. You get what I'm saying? So if it's working, it's working, and then use them. If we get to the Super Bowl and we say Samuel didn't do much and we pay $8 million for him, I don't think none of us gonna lose sleep.
No.
Now it'd be different if once again it's different if we talking about a 500 team. Why do we pay this and waste this money on somebody and we 500? We're a 7-2 team. We're running away with the division right now. That's just what it is.
We're gonna see. This is a good week for him to become active. You got anything?
Oh, great week.
What was that, JT?
I said, you got anything on Curtis Samuel?
Man, it's to be quite honest with you, I think it's at a point in time where I think Brady, with the weapons that he has and the development of the guys that he has, is trying to figure out how teams are going to try to develop. Going to try to defend that and how to counter that. Not like I've got some insight on it or something like that. It's kind of just like a feel that I've got for it, especially with the addition of now Cooper. Now I get it. He wasn't there. He wasn't available last game. I understand that. But once again, it's a guy that dictates to the defense what they're going to do a lot of times, what kind of looks they're going to have. We've even seen him move in Coop to the slot. I believe he was on the same side as Coleman a couple times.
For the
you know what I mean?
Same time for the touchdown.
Yeah. So you're able to see. I think you know what I'm saying. Brady is still moving some stuff around, seeing what works. And I'm saying from the same line of thought as James. I'm not necessarily saying I'm happy how they're using Samuel up till this point, but I love having that option. Right. And that's why I think that they seem as though they're trying to figure some things out. And I mean, I saw him push vertical in the game against Miami, but I saw that they were capping defense too. So I was like, a couple of those screens that Shakir caught, I think could have been Samuel. I think it could have been, but then again, it's, you know what I'm saying, when your number's called, then you gotta go and make it happen. And I'm not mad at what Shakir did when they threw it to him. So I mean, it's kind of like, hey, if he wasn't making it happen, then all right, let's get it to Samuel. But Shakir was balling, man, and it just happened that way.
Yeah. Before we get off air here pretty soon, I don't think. Oh, you know what? Actually, we did have a question. I saw major questions for James. James, are you still grading Coleman hands at 85? I like the young kid, but his drops are costly.
James the Madden adjuster.
Good one, Major. My CCSU brother. I will. Now, you know, Major, being a baller, sometimes it's just situational, right? Overall, I still rated about an 85. You got to have those. That's concentration. And it's just, that's what happened. That's why the Bills traditionally don't play rookies a lot. Like, those are the rookie mistakes the Bills just don't like. That's a perfect example of the fans why the Bills traditionally just haven't played rookies a ton, right? You want to get them that experience, get them out there on special teams, get them a feel for being out there on the NFL field, and then sprinkle them in. This is a perfect example of the Bills fans why the Bills have traditionally not have played rookies a ton. As you see last year, it was halfway through the year before Kincaid was really a factor. Right. Yeah. And I think Bills fans would have lost their mind if we did that with Keon Coleman this year. So yeah. So to answer your question, I do. Right now I'm standing firm on that 85.
I would even say this. You know, the fact that they're throwing these balls to him with this confidence. This is why I keep going back to the point for next year. He's gonna be ready. He's gonna be fully ready to go by next year. Just his development is being sped up. And the situations he's making these mistakes, that's fine. Just like riding a bike, you're going to fall off your bike a couple of times until you get it. And next year, he's not going to be trying to find his way. He's going to know this offense. He's going to be involved in this offense. And these passes that he dropped last year, he's probably going to get this year. He's probably going to catch next year. And that'll be the difference between touchdowns and possibly even Pro Bowl, All-Pro, things like that such. And I'm not trying to put that type of pressure on him. But I'm saying that this kid has that type of talent and that type of ability.
And JT, you guys mentioned earlier, man, the technique even on the deep ball. You know what I mean? With high point, and you said you'd rather high point it on that slant, man. I'd rather he frame it, boom, frame it here, reach, tuck. You know what I mean? Or even keep it away from Jalen. I mean, you're a 6'4" receiver.
Right.
You know what I mean? But like you just mentioned, JT and even Mal alluded to, it's training. You know what I'm saying? It's live reps, and you're training with live reps. You know what I mean? And it, honestly, like if you look at a couple games where he did have a drop, he will come back with a big catch. So what that means is the guy is he's making those adjustments mentally, and he's making sure he's not making the same mistake twice. That's what it kind of comes off with to me as. So I like it. I like him. You know what I'm saying? Continuing to ascend it. So it's dope.
But moving on, man. Before we get off, Bills gonna hit the Indianapolis this week to face Jonathan Taylor and the Colts. They're 4-5. We got Joe Flacco starting after Anthony Richardson took himself out the game the other week. So I will say this, man. This is a different game going to Indianapolis. It's a very strong defense. Two interior rushers and run stuffers in DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart. Two of the best in the league there.
They grown men.
Yeah, two of the best
They grown
in the
men.
league. Letu, the rookie, coming off the edge. You got a very solid secondary and Julian Blackman, who I was hoping we got here in Buffalo. We did not land him. Nick Cross, who's leading the NFL and safeties with tackles. Kenny Moore, so a very seasoned team on defense with Zaire Franklin in the middle. What are you expecting to see from this game? Oh, James, I'll go to you. My fault.
I'm expecting for 8 different people to catch the ball. No, we're gonna have to just spread the love. To be honest with you, I'm thinking Monty Cooper may have a big game.
Yeah.
Um,
Coming out
I think Kincaid got to come alive. Just use your weapons. You don't got to get fancy. We know what work. You know what you got. Do you? Yeah, I know. Like when D-Dot and I coach, be who you are. You lose when you get away from being who you are. Be who you are. Do it at a high level. You fine. Don't outcoach yourself. Go out there, play ball. We got one of the best offensive, just like they got a great defensive line. We got the best O-line in the league, arguably the best O-line in the league. Let's get at it, right? One thing we could talk ourselves about Dawson Knox. That mofo is gonna block.
Oh yeah,
you go 12 personnel, his ass gonna block. And use that to our advantage. We got running backs that's gonna get vertical and gonna potentially give them headaches. So, and let's be real here. We get up on them, we start scoring. You make Joe Flacco pass the ball, they in trouble.
Yeah.
So
he was sitting duck versus Minnesota this week back there.
Yeah. So we get up, we make them pass the ball. We stay effective in the red zone, we get money. But just don't get too fancy. These are the games that scare me. These type of teams, them, Arizona. I don't worry about the bigger team. Like I don't. It might sound crazy, but you remember, man, I was scared as heck about that Arizona game. I'm like, yo.
Yeah.
That game, man, it's these type of teams. They're gonna play tough, they're gonna play physical, they're gonna play hard. We just gotta come out and execute and just be who you are. We fine.
D-Dot.
Yeah. I'm along the same line of thinking as James. Just stick with what works. Defense, I'm not concerned with how our guys are gonna, deal with their defense. Deal with their offense. They got the bigger, more physical receivers. Adonai Mitchell, Michael Pittman. I think is still he's still healthy, right?
Poyers, yeah.
Yeah. So you know what I mean. They're gonna have the bigger guys. I have no problem with our corners our secondary having to deal with the bigger, more physical guys. It's kind of like how James alluded to when we got the little scat back guys, little quick
Josh
twitch
Downs.
guys. Yeah. Well, yeah, they have downs.
Yeah,
they have downs. But when
when
they've got more than one though. You know what I mean? Usually we match up pretty decently with the one, but if they got 2, 3 guys and that's they want to make it to a track meet, that's why I kind of get you know what I mean? But yeah, man, being able to just Josh being able to take what the defense gives him, and I love the one point I want to make was this last game. I love the plays that he checked to, and the plays that he made. Right, the check to Coleman and everything, hitting that even though the play didn't work. You know what I mean? It still was the right play to make. So I think if Josh continues to do that, he sets the protections well. Check to the run when you need to check to the run. Go to the pass when you need to go to the pass. I think the Bills will be more than fine. I think it's going to be a lower scoring affair, though. I don't think they're going to hit 30, though.
Yeah. I'd say this, like, listen, man, first and foremost, you got to stop Jonathan Taylor. You stop Jonathan Taylor, you get up early. You know, you pull him out of this game by getting up. You got to force some turnovers, get the Flacco, force some mistakes. I think this defensive line is getting stronger each week. We really need a strong showing from Ed Oliver at some point here, though.
Yes.
I'm really looking for that, and this is the game to do it with a quarterback that can't move. So, that, I mean, they got to go in there and handle business. You know, try to get to this 8-2, because we do know on the opposite side of this, we got the Kansas City Chiefs waiting. Then we'll have a bye week. We have a game versus the 49ers coming up. We'll have another game versus the Jets. And then we do know we're going to have a tough game in Detroit, a real tough game coming in Detroit. So this is one of those games that, listen, if you want to stay neck and neck with Kansas City, possibly try to keep competing for that number 1 seed at some point, you can't lose this game. You got to win it. So once again, that's the difference between, not that we know it matters, because I don't think it matters at this point if you're meeting with KC in the playoffs. It doesn't matter whether you go to KC or they come to Buffalo. I'm going to be honest with you. There's no advantage for either team anymore.
Yeah.
You've played each other way too much. Ain't nobody uncomfortable. Okay.
Right.
But that could be a difference of slipping in the standings and playing Baltimore in Buffalo compared to going to Baltimore later. You know what I mean? So you want to stay neck and neck there. I think this game they just need to go ahead and win. Keep the momentum going. Get them running backs going early. Keep those tight ends involved. Like I say, quick decisions. Just don't turn the ball over. So, other than that, man, that's all I got. Score predictions, D-Dot?
24-20 Bills.
Mal?
27-17 Bills.
All right, I'll go with I am going to go with I don't know. I want to go one of them scoring-nami things that Mike Back always talk about. I don't know. I'm going to go 24-17 Bills on this one. So, on that, we'll see what happens. Actually, I'll go 24. I'll give them worse. I'm going to go 24-20. 24-20.
Okay.
All right. On that, guys, another great show. Appreciate you stopping in. D-Dot once again. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We should be back next week, hopefully with a another Bills win. Hopefully, we 8-2 heading that big KC game. So, on that, everybody have a good night. Peace.
Peace.